Viewer discretion is advised. So I hate this case, as I texted the chat earlier. And I often approach things in life with empathy, but I really struggle to do that in cases like this, so bear with me.
Fair.
And you know what?
You're only human.
Let the rage flow through you. Like, what is a wine and crime episode without some deep rage?
Oh, no.
So let's dive in.
Okay.
Elliot Oliver Robertson Rodger was born...
Why do I know that name?
Elliot Rodger.
You will know. Was born on July 24th, 1991 in London, England, but I'm not doing geography because he doesn't fucking deserve it. His parents moved with him to the United States when he was 5, and they settled down in Los Angeles, California. Though his parents eventually divorced, they did have another child before they split, so Elliot had a little sister. After the divorce, Elliot's father remarried, and Elliot did not get along with his new stepmother, and we'll kind of get to it. Elliot successfully graduated high school in 2011, despite struggling in high school and changing schools twice. He then enrolled in Los Angeles Pierce College, then transferred to Moore Park College, and then transferred again to Santa Barbara City College in Isla Vista, California.
Okay, bounced around a bit.
Yep. Elliot had a long history of struggling with his mental health. From the age of 8, he had been to several therapists, though as a child, he was not provided with an official diagnosis. As a young teen in 2007, he was diagnosed with pervasive developmental disorder, which is a fairly broad and generalized diagnosis on the autism spectrum. And he was also diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Though he was not diagnosed as a narcissist, his eventual manifesto would show that he most certainly was.
Yeah.
Being different certainly had its drawbacks. In grade school, he was bullied and fell deeply into World of Warcraft, was very isolated, and eventually went down an incel path where he made, quote, the one friend in the whole world who truly understood him. And she allegedly abruptly decided she didn't want to be friends with him anymore.
Probably because he did something really creepy and weird, and she was like, I have boundaries.
My next sentence. This is according to him, which begs the question of what may have happened between them that made her uncomfortable with the friendship. So he went deeper into his online life, blogging and vlogging about his struggles, openly rejecting taking the medications he was prescribed. And when he turned 18, he stopped attending therapy altogether and went off all of his meds. He started exhibiting violence against young women and couples, once throwing a cup of hot coffee at a young couple being like moderately affectionate in public, like holding hands.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
And also splashing hot coffee in the faces of young women on campus who, quote, wouldn't smile at him.
Oh, my God. There's
Son
something like particularly creepy about serial killers and killers who target couples. I don't know what it is.
The jealousy. It's all just really gross.
It's just really weird.
It's all incel shit. It fucking freaks me out.
Also, like when you're with your partner and, you know, that's like you're safe.
You feel, exactly. It's like as a woman, like you feel safer with a partner around, and they fucking ruin that too.
Yeah. In 2013, he tried to push 2 girls over a 10-foot ledge. Like it might have been like a building balcony at a college party. So not like super high, but high enough to harm someone. Yeah.
It's still violent.
Yeah. He did not succeed, and he got his ass kicked for that. I think they ended up, like, a bunch of dudes intervened, and then they ended up, like, tossing him over the ledge, and he, like, twisted his ankle or some shit.
Yeah, dose of his own fucking medicine.
Right. For which he vowed to kill the guys responsible for beating him up. This, in his mind, was the straw that broke the camel's back. Despite multiple reports to police regarding his behavior, the police determined he did not meet the criteria for an involuntary mental health hold or assessment.
God damn it.
Elliot got to work on a 107,000-word manifesto that he titled, quote, My Twisted World, the Story of Elliot Rodger.
Oh, my God. The fact that he gave it a title.
Oh, he gave everything a title. And sent it out to 34 people.
A first-person title.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He
a title with a colon and a first-person reference.
This was like how he titled his fucking, YouTube videos, his blog posts. Like, it's so fucking grandiose and over the top. It's so fucking stupid. He sent this manifesto out to 34 people, as well as presenting parts of it on his YouTube channel, which we'll get to. Mm-hmm. He sent the manifesto to family, friends, teachers, really anyone he felt like somewhat connected to or even scorned by.
His dentist.
Probably. He labeled his final YouTube video, quote, Elliot Rodger's retribution, and went on about being rejected by women, being jealous of men who were having sex with women, and explained why he was planning to attack the public. In this video, he says, quote, tomorrow is the day of retribution, the day in which I will have my revenge against humanity, against all of you. For the last 8 years of my life, ever since I hit puberty, I've been forced to endure an existence of loneliness, rejection, and unfulfilled desires, all because girls have never been attracted to me.
Yeah, through no fault of my own, all I did was try to push them over a ledge and throw hot coffee on them and tell them to smile.
I'm a good guy. Girls gave their affection and sex and love to other men, but never to me.
It's all transactional.
I'm 22 years old and I'm still a virgin. I've never even kissed a girl. I've been through college for 2.5 years, more than that actually, and I'm still a virgin. It's been very torturous. College is the time when everyone experiences those things such as sex and fun and pleasure. Within those years, I've had to rot in loneliness. It's not fair. You girls have never been attracted to me. I don't know why you girls aren't attracted to me, but I will punish you all for it. It's an injustice, a crime, because I don't know what you don't see in me. I'm the perfect guy, and yet you throw yourselves at these obnoxious men instead of me, the supreme gentleman. End quote.
God.
I just splash hot coffee in your face at random and push you over a fucking balcony, but I'm the supreme gentleman.
The supreme gentleman.
Yep.
God damn it.
Yeah, the internalized white supremacy is really wild, and we're going to get to it right now. So, despite being of Malaysian Chinese descent on his mother's side, so his father was white, his mother was Asian, he was deep into white supremacist ideology. He really rejected his Asian heritage and felt like it contributed to why he wasn't attractive, specifically to white women.
Oh, God.
And he engaged in violent anti-Black, anti-Asian, and anti-Hispanic, like very specifically ideation. There are quotes to this effect from him, but I'm not going to read them because listeners of color don't need to hear more of that bullshit.
Yeah, fuck him.
It doesn't need to be said. This is just part of...
We get the picture.
Exactly. This is just part of the problem.
He's delusional and racist.
Yep. So he revered his white heritage, writing about how he is a descendant of British aristocracy.
Fucking who isn't?
Well, yeah. And like he was born in London. His dad was British. So like maybe he had a closer connection, I guess. But like who fucking cares?
Doesn't matter.
Like fuck you. So in this last video, the retribution video, he declared that, quote, on the day before the day of retribution, I will start the first phase of my vengeance. Silently killing as many people as I can around Isla Vista by luring them into my apartment through some form of trickery. The second phase of his plan would be a, quote, war on women. He said the second phase...
run for office.
I know, right? The second phase will take place on the day of retribution itself, just before the climactic massacre, my war on women. I will attack the very girls who represent everything I hate in the female gender, the hottest sorority of UCSB, so University of California, Santa Barbara. Rodger stated in his manifesto that in his ideal world, he would, quote, quarantine all women in concentration camps. So he's also fucking anti-Semitic.
Jesus.
At these camps, the vast majority of the female population will be deliberately starved to death. That would be an efficient and fitting way to kill them all off. I would have an enormous tower built just for myself. Like the narcissism is completely out of control.
Yeah, this is insane.
Mm-hmm. And gleefully watch them all die.
Yeah. I am speakless.
Mm-hmm. It's really fucking bad.
I remember reading this shit when all this happened.
I didn't.
Disgusting. You were not in the country.
There we go. Okay. Like, obviously, I've heard of him. I still can't, like, fully place what
you can look
You'll
at a picture
see
of him
his-
on the drive. It's
You'll
like
recognize him.
it's like the most famously shared picture of him.
Right.
That selfie of him in the seat of his car, which may have even been taken like the day he went out and did
I think
this.
it was.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was the same car that he
Right.
used.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the grandiosity and the
he's sick.
the rage. And
Yeah.
this is what 4chan and 8chan
we'll get
is
to it.
filled with.
Yep.
This shit.
We will get to it.
God.
He also dreamed of, quote, a pure world where the man's mind can develop to greater heights than ever before. Future generations will live their lives free of having to worry about the barbarity of sex and women, which will enable them to expand their intelligence and advance the human race to a state of perfect civilization.
So
So
he
like
wanted
genocide.
He wanted to kill all women so that he could be free of the desire for sex and women.
And he
so that
wanted
he
Try to
could-
make sense of this.
No, I mean, but that's part of his delusion. And he wanted to essentially wipe out people of color.
Right.
Yeah. He said that he planned to kill his half-brother and stepmother, but was not mentally prepared to kill his father. And his half-brother and stepmother are both people of color.
Okay. Didn't mention his own mom.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, she's also a person of color, but he didn't mention her. But he had a tumultuous relationship with his stepmother, probably out of,
Well, his mother was probably out of the picture, like somewhere else. And these people he was still living with.
That is not the case. He was living on his own.
Okay.
And his mother and father and stepmother still all lived in California in a not super far away area.
Got it. Okay. He just didn't get to that one. Or maybe she just falls under all the women in the concentration camps.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I think he just so specifically hated his stepmother, likely for like replacing his mother, even though it's like, your dad got divorced.
Right.
Like, that's not all on your mom. And so I think he just had a specific disdain for her and then the child that this woman and his dad had together after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So he started planning this like 2 years in advance, going to the gun range to practice shooting and acquiring firearms in 2012 and 2013. Now, this video where he comes out and talks about his plan and the manifesto were not public until like the day this happened.
Anyone who goes to a shooting range should be asked a series of questions, and they should
Do
all
you
be
have
trick
a-
questions.
Are
and
you
one
a
of them
vlogger?
should be, can you please upload your manifesto? And then if you upload anything, you're disqualified from going to the shooting range.
I like that. I like that plan. He first purchased a Glock 34 pistol, then 2 additional pistols, all obtained legally in California. Then on May 23rd, he carried out his promised day of retribution. So it was May 23rd, I think 2014. He executed the first phase of his attack as promised and lured 3 men to his apartment where he stabbed them to death. 2 of these men were his roommates, and the third was a classmate who may have also lived in the building. He then went to a local coffee shop to get himself a coffee around 8:30 p.m.
It's not that hard to lure your roommates into your apartment.
No, I know. It's like he said he was going to lure people.
He just killed
His roommates and a
killed
third
people
person that
in
he lured in.
proximity.
So it was at the coffee shop that he uploaded his final YouTube video that I've been quoting and sent out his manifesto via email to the 34 recipients. A copy of the manifesto went to his former therapist, who immediately called his mother, and his mother then called his father. They then left their homes separately to make their way to his location and called Isla Vista police on the way to their son.
Good.
The therapist should have called the police in the first place.
I mean, someone called the police right away. So, like, long and short of it, that's important.
I feel like, those people did what
The
they
cops
could
didn't do
do at the time.
fuck all to prevent this from happening.
Right.
But even after multiple reports about his behavior, and even on the day where they could have truly prevented crime.
Right.
But we're not going to go down that rabbit hole today. Meanwhile, Elliot made his way to the Alpha Phi sorority on the UC Santa Barbara campus and knocked on the door, gun in hand. As he waited for an answer, he opened fire on co-eds passing by just out on a beautiful evening in May in California.
Yes.
One was a young couple, one a young woman out riding her bike, and several pedestrians. He then got in his vehicle and drove around shooting at random women on the street. Eventually, he was approached by police, who he shot at as well. They were like chasing him in a car, and he shot at them.
So just totally opportunistic, random.
I mean, less random. He was targeting
He targeted the sorority, yeah.
Yep, and the sorority. But yes, very opportunistic. He continued to drive around the neighborhood targeting young co-eds. The co-eds he was targeting at random. Folks out on their skateboards, folks out biking, folks out walking around, coming in and out of shops and restaurants. Like, people, it was just absolute chaos. He was eventually hit by one of the shots fired by police, which then resulted in him targeting victims with his car. He hit at least one cyclist before crashing his vehicle. It was then that he took his final shot to his own head. Police found him in his car, deceased, with his 3 guns, several knives, 6 empty 10-round magazines indicating he had fired at least 60 shots, and an additional 580 rounds of ammunition that were not used.
Jesus Christ.
So he was like,
he was
stocked
armed
up.
to the teeth, yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. So 6 UC Santa Barbara students were killed in the attack. 19-year-old George Chen, 20-year-old Chen Win Hong, 20-year-old Weihan Wang. They were all killed in the apartment stabbings, and it's like significant that they are
all
Asian men.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he was targeting himself without
Correct.
consciously realizing
the
that.
The part of himself that he hated. And I think he did consciously know that, because a lot of his online presence, which I didn't read because I don't want to read his racist bullshit, talks a lot about his issues with being half
Asian. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. So that is just pure fucking unbridled racism.
Self-loathing.
Yep. 22-year-old Catherine Cooper, 20-year-old Christopher Michaels Martinez, and 19-year-old Veronica Weiss were all killed by gunfire. The fact that only 6 people died, which is way too many fucking people, but considering the scope of this rampage that he went on, it's kind of a miracle. Like, I can't fucking believe it.
And were a lot of other people injured?
Yeah, 14 others were injured.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
That he'd prepared for it for, like, what'd you say, like 2 years or something?
Yeah. I mean, it's so sick. It's so fucking sick. So 14 others were injured in the attack, but thankfully survived. One of the survivors, a young student named Bianca, remembers Elliot smiling at her before opening fire, which is one of the most fucking horrific things ever. So in the aftermath of the attacks, calls for gun control mounted and were so obviously successful.
Totally, I'm sure.
His internet search history revealed hours and hours spent on a site of the internet coined the Manosphere-ish, specifically on forums like Forever Alone and PUA Hate, which is Pickup Artist.
Oh my God. Can you imagine a more
incel?
Toxic.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Forever Alone.
It's so gross. So this is a quote.
It's exactly like the guy in Buffalo from last week. Oh my God.
Yep.
God damn it.
So this is from Wikipedia, quote, "The Manosphere is a collection of websites, blogs, and online forums promoting to varying degrees masculinity, misogyny, and strong opposition to feminism. Communities within the Manosphere include men's rights activists, incels, and men going their own way, the MGTOW.
I don't even want to know.
I know. Pickup artists, PUA, and fathers' rights groups. The Manosphere overlaps with the far-right and alt-right communities, you don't say."
I think that men going their own way, only because I watched that Red Pill documentary, which is so gross also. I think it's like they're completely cutting women out of their lives. Like they do not associate with women.
At all. Which, like,
just
because they can't get sex from them.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
Bye. We don't need you. It has also been associated with online harassment and has been implicated in radicalizing men into misogynist beliefs and the glorification of violence against women. Some sources have associated Manosphere-based radicalization with mass shootings motivated by misogyny, end quote. And that also that overview also completely disregards like racism and anti-Semitism, which are also highly prolific in these groups. So this is just a side of the internet I never want to fucking stumble on, but it's just so scary how many of these communities exist
and how growing. They're
growing.
Becoming more normalized.
Right. This is very prolific. Yeah. This is very prolific, this ideation, and it's all built on a foundation.
Joe Rogan.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's all built on a foundation of white supremacy, anti-Semitism, xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, hatred of women, like all of the things. And it's so easy for folks on the political right to stumble upon these communities because of like, it's intentional to have some of these more benign, like shared, pretty common conservative beliefs.
It's a slippery slope.
Right. So this shared rhetoric like lures people in who already lean to the right. And then they're welcomed with open arms and just completely bombarded.
It's all just like a patriarchal spectrum that starts with like daddy-daughter dances.
Yeah. Coming out parties. It's so fucked up. And like, let this serve as the reminder that white people wrangling and checking our own and our racist family members and like the right-wing uncle we hate is literally a matter of life and death for people of color and for women, with the threat of violence infinitely higher when the intersectionalities of race, gender, and sexuality are present.
I saw a TikTok where a woman was like, I am just sick of wasting my time on dating apps. And so now I ask everyone like, what's your most controversial opinion? And then she just like
waits.
She just uploads all of these, and there's so much disgusting opinions out there.
It is a cesspool.
Weeds them out.
I don't care if Bill and I end up hating each other. I'm not going back out there. I won't do it. I refuse. So in one post on such a forum, Elliot Rodgers bragged about getting his first gun and wrote, quote, I felt a new sense of power. I was now armed. Who's the alpha male now, bitches? I thought to myself, regarding all of the girls who've looked down on me in the past.
I have a hang up about my own dick and about not getting sex, and so I'm going to buy a robot dick in the form of a gun.
And kill everyone with it.
Uh-huh.
This story also sparked plenty of bullshit online with the hashtag, quote, not all men trending on Twitter in response to the outcry against misogyny and racism. And if you have to say not all men, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
If it don't apply, let it fly.
Enough of them.
Right. Incel communities heralded Elliot Rodger as their saint, and he was glorified in memes with like his face pasted over religious figures. And to this day, incel forums will discuss mass violence as going ER, going Elliot Rodgers. And other mass murderers in this movement have referenced Elliot in their manifestos. So now he's like gone down in incel history as like a leader and a saint of the movement. So that's my case.
I hated it.
Yep. So did I.
I thought I was going to like this episode.
I liked your segment.
Thanks.
Where
we diagnosed Amanda.
Crushed it. We all learned valuable things about ourselves today.
God, it's so scary, and our society is so broken, and there are so many of these people. It's really fucking scary.
Yeah, it's the fucking worst.
God.
So
anyway, come to our live shows.
Come to our live shows and vote.
No incels allowed.
Please vote.
Yeah, come join us.
All right.
Well, I sure hope you liked that clip. If you did like that clip, make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel, leaving us a nice review, and joining us on Patreon for even more video content, audio content, salacious content all around. Come join us. Treat yourself.